Hello everybody, welcome back to Max Reviews, and today we're going to be reviewing Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them and Fantastic Beasts, The Crimes of Grindelwald. This is my actual first reaction to these movies. I had never seen them before, and I don't know, here's my thoughts on them. These are a bit more interesting and controversial of subjects than the Harry Potter movies, so let's just get into it. So the first two Fantastic Beasts movies are, the first one is pretty much a whole bunch of people think it's good / fine. Some people absolutely love it. And then Crimes of Grindelwald is a very controversial film where a bunch of people absolutely despise it and think it ruins the entire franchise and don't care about Fantastic Beasts anymore. And some people actually think it's good and enjoy it. For me, let's just get into Fantastic Beasts, my thoughts on the entire series, and I think the entire premise of going backwards instead of forwards in the world of Harry Potter, in the Wizarding world, is a good idea. I think following Newt Scamander and seeing these fantastic beasts is a very good idea. And then I think just having this thing between Dumbledore and Grindelwald throughout the series is another very interesting idea that I enjoy. The actual execution here isn't as good as that exact premise. Starting off here with Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. The first came out 2016. Let me say the good things about the movie. I enjoy Newt Scamander. He's a fresh, new, and just innocent guy that you could really root for, and he's enjoyable. I enjoy Jacob in this movie, the Muggle / Nomad. I enjoy that it's in New York, since I live in New York. A little, changing the scenery where we're always in Britain or in Hogwarts, somewhere over there, but we're going somewhere else, somewhere new. Change of setting is very nice. I like a whole bunch of the creatures. It's really fun in this movie. The movie has a bunch of funny scenes that I enjoy, where they had me smiling and laughing quite a bit. And then also, the movie just has this sense of wonder that's sort of, not exactly, but sort of like the first two Harry Potter movies, where it has this childish sort of sense of awe when you're seeing all these creatures and all these different sort of cute animals and monsters or creatures or whatever you want to call them that follow Newt Scamander, from Twig to like the rhinoceros thing to these weird cats, and so many different creatures that I really do think are really fun, creative, and just a good idea. And then, just other than that, positives are just they get to use magic, where first Harry Potter movies, first two ones, Harry Potter barely says any spells. This movie, they're immediately, right out of the get-go, Newt Scamander disapparating, just using different spells and using magic where we hadn't done that before. I love the old American wizards and what's going on with that. And some of this stuff is very interesting with figuring out how the political system works and all that. It was a really fun movie when it was focusing on the Fantastic Beasts, and I had a fun time with it. If we're getting into the negatives here, I think the movie's biggest problem is choosing a tone or a vibe. So, to say that, I enjoyed, the first half. Hobrix, he's a big fan of this movie. It's like his favorite movie of 2016, I think he said in his review, one of his favorites. And I just commented to him, hey, I'm really enjoying it. And then I got into the final 2 hours, and it sort of got me a bit more mixed on it. So you go from this just really fun adventure with Jacob and Newt, and then um you have Tina and just Ezra Miller's character, and also Queenie all thrown in there as just sort of fun. And then you move to Ezra Miller as Credence being beaten by his mother. And you go from fun, whimsical adventures feeding these animals in the suitcase to like dark wizards killing people. It starts out with Grindlewald as a threat and is murdering people in the very beginning. And then you have this fun tale in the first half an hour, and then it sort of shifts every once in a while, like scene shifts. You go from dark to just a fun adventure. And I feel like the dark side of things, I'd be fine with that if it, like in Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, Harry Potter in the Order of Phoenix, Harry Potter, Deathly Hallows Part 1 and 2, they were all darker, and I like them. Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2 is still my favorite movie in the Harry Potter franchise so far. But you got to choose the tone. You got to either say, I'm going to make a fun, whimsical adventure, or I'm going to make a darker movie. Another problem, I care about none of the characters. The only characters that I care about are Newt and Jacob. I don't care about Tina. Queenie I find annoying. Credence is just, I don't like Credence. I'm sorry. I don't get invested in him at all in these movies. And Grindelwald as this giant threat throughout the movie, it seems they like start off like Grindelwald's a threat. And we don't see him until we get this Scooby-Doo reveal that he's actually the guy that's been working with Credence to try to find where this monster is. And it's him. It's Grindelwald. Oh, no. I'm like, really? Really? We have to do that? And it's Johnny Depp, which we'll get into Crimes of Grindelwald and how that sort of messed Grindelwald up. I don't care about any of the other characters except for Jacob and Newt and their little shenanigans, their little adventures, which I do enjoy. And even as I've been reviewing this, I'm thinking I enjoy this movie than I thought I did. I'm moving my score up a point because it's just so fun. But then you also have like the back half where Tina is literally going to be murdered with Newt. They're going to execute them, kill them, because they were disobeying the wizarding order. And it's like, seriously? We're going from fun adventure to they're going to murder them. And I just think when you have that big of a tonal shift, it just sort of is very hard and bizarre and just weird to swallow in a movie. Like, this is a movie, two different movies, two different vibes. It's the same movie, but two different vibes and tones and very, very opposites clash together, and it doesn't mesh well. The final battle with Credence, I don't like it. I'm sorry, I don't care about Credence too much in this movie. I just care about Newt, Jacob, and finding these monsters. I like that Jacob, how we sort of resolve everything by the end. Jacob gets his memory back somehow, which still isn't explained when his mind has been erased. I don't care about any of the characters except for Newt and Jacob. I just wish that this movie was sort of just them and maybe some more fun characters finding fantastic beasts. And this movie is really frustrating because there's so much that I do enjoy and so much that I don't. So I'm sort of divided. I'm either going to give it like a 6.5, 7, somewhere in there. I think I'll go 7 right now. But I'm thinking I don't really want to rewatch this, so maybe 6.5. I don't know, somewhere 6.5/7, somewhere in there. It started out really fun and whimsical, and then it's sort of just the tonal shift is such the big thing that I think these two movies, which I heard Secrets of Dumbledore does fix, and I hope it does, that it chooses a tone, either darker and this political side or fun. Then we get to Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald. Everybody calls this the worst. A few people actually enjoy it. I'm going to be on the side that says this movie is a confusing, just very weird mess that it doesn't destroy the franchise, but it just gets me so, just why? This movie is really confusing because there's so many side plots, and it all tries to come together in the end, and it doesn't. So what I mean by that is that the movie is called Crimes of Grindelwald. And it's also called Fantastic Beasts. there is my entire problem for the first movie, where you have Fantastic Beasts, fun side, Crimes of Grindelwald, Grindelwald murdering people. So even the first scene is wrong. It's sort of mixed up, because Grindelwald saves this guy, because he gets out of prison, and then he saves his servant, and then this other guy that helped him, this creature, he kills. So you're sort of like, does he really, is he more loyal to his own interests or his servants or his followers, if you will? Grindelwald in this movie, I don't really enjoy him too much. Johnny Depp tried to do something, and it's definitely something. I just didn't really enjoy it. And when he's in the name Grindelwald, and in the next movie they recast him because they didn't like how he turned up. And your entire thing in the first movie was that Grindelwald is the big reveal, and then you recast him in the movie after that. That means that this movie must have been that big of a train wreck where they're like, hey guys, we gotta fix this, we gotta take care of Grindelwald. And they also had the controversy with Johnny Depp, which I'm not gonna get into that, who cares? But it doesn't affect the movie for me, but Johnny Depp just doesn't do a good job as Grindelwald, I don't think. Newt and Jacob do not need to be in this movie, where they just feel like a side plot now, where we don't even know what we're focusing on. You have Credence figuring out who he actually is. You have Nagini, the snake, who is actually a girl, who's hanging out with Credence at the circus, and they go to figure out what's going on by going to Grindelwald. You have Queenie sort of taking over Jacob's mind, which we still have no idea how he remembers everything, and they're getting engaged. She's sort of forcing him, and then you have them going away, and then they sort of get together, and then she's like, hey, I'm going to turn evil now. You have that girl, like the new leader, not exactly Minister of Magic, but leader, I forgot her name. Let me see. Give me a second, try to figure out her name. I think it's Lita Lestrange. Yeah, that's who it is. And she just has her whole plot where she's trying to figure everything out, and then she's like, oh, wow, this is what happened. You have a lot going on in this movie. You also have Dumbledore thrown in here for, like, no reason. Dumbledore does not need to be in this movie. Good news, Jude Law does a really, really good job as Dumbledore, even though he has no reason to be here. There's a bunch of things that don't make sense. McGonagall, just this little pick thing. McGonagall is shown there in, like, the 1910s, like 10 years before she was born. Just random thing in the flashbacks. I don't like the flashbacks here where we're seeing Newt and, Lita Lestrange. Why do we need the flashbacks? And then you'll have just all this stuff. You don't care about the Fantastic Beasts in this movie. There's not a whole bunch of them. You see, like, 3 scenes with them. And so they're sort of sidelined for putting all this stuff together, this giant puzzle, which just is a mess because there's so much going on. They're cramming so much into this movie. You also have this whole thing where Tina decides to run away. She doesn't want to be with Newt anymore. Newt is trying to come to find Tina, because Tina thinks that he's getting married because his brother, who has his last name, obviously, is getting married to the other woman that he knew, Lita, who is trying to figure everything out, and so is Newt's brother, and so Newt is trying to find Tina, and then by the end of the movie, just Tina and him are sort of like, okay, I don't care about any of this stuff. I just want to have our fun shenanigans with Jacob and Newt, and those aren't in this movie, and Newt doesn't even have to be here at this point. They keep interrogating Newt like, we need you, and you should help your country, where Newt, you saw him in the first movie, he didn't even fight that well. He's not like the chosen one like Harry Potter. He's just a guy who wants to find his creatures, his fantastic beasts. And they won't let him in this movie. So this movie is a convoluted mess. The final reveal with Credence, that Credence was actually swapped as a child. The real Credence was killed, and it just so happened that that other baby that Lita swapped, was actually Credence, whose actual name is, I can't remember, Dumbledore. He's actually a Dumbledore. Wow. I don't care. You have the final fight thing with Grindelwald, where he says, I don't care for Muggles. He wants to prevent World War II, which makes you sort of root for him. Like, anybody who wants to prevent the Holocaust is okay. But then you have him murdering people who don't want to join him. He's like, I'm just going to take it peacefully. And then he murders people. It's just so convoluted and wrong. And just, it doesn't work. Where his performance just doesn't work. And he's killing people. And then you have Lita come up and you're like, oh, she's going to sacrifice herself. No, she just dies. She just takes 2 shots at Grindelwald and is killed by the fire. Just like, seriously? And just how you end the movie, I don't care about Nagini or how they end with Queenie. Like, seriously, Queenie can read minds and she's horrible at... She's like, oh, but Grindelwald is so great. No, he isn't. And she just doesn't realize it. It's not one of those frustrating, like, no, don't go to the dark side. It's like, no. Why are you being stupid? It's so obvious that he's literally killing your friends. It is a convoluted, confusing mess of a movie. And I guarantee you, if I watch this movie more, I'm just going to realize more plot holes. I am keeping this video short because I can make an hour video if I just rewatch this movie and explain how messed up this is. Where it's too confusing, it just messes everything up. And I hope they fix it in Secret of Dumbledore. I'm sorry to Hobrix. I know you're watching this. You're like, well, I thought you might like it, but I'm sorry. It's just fighting right there in the title. Fantastic Beasts, The Crimes of Grindelwald. Grindelwald and Fantastic Beasts just don't mix in this movie. So, I don't know. They're just trying to be so much. It's trying to be a fun, whimsical tale about Fantastic Beasts. It's trying to be the political thing, Rise of Grindelwald, all these relationships, and they try to pay it off at the end being, this is what you are, Credence. Your name isn't even Credence. Credence is dead. And you're a Dumbledore. And it just makes the universe feel a bit smaller. Where Credence is actually Dumbledore. Where, like, he's a little strange. I didn't enjoy this movie. So I'm going to give it a 3 out of 10. Easily the worst thing in the Wizarding world so far. So come back soon for my Secrets of Dumbledore reviews. They'll be coming soon. Thanks for watching. Leave your comments down below if you agree or don't disagree with my opinions. And try to explain, if you really enjoy either of these movies, why they're so much better than I consider them to be. So thanks for watching. Like, subscribe to Max Reviews. Braden out.